Alright guys, so you guys should be familiar enough with SketchUp now to kind of go out and model whatever you guys so choose. So in the last one we kind of looked at groups and components and the differences between the two. I'm going to left click and drag out and select all of those, and I'm just going to hit delete on the keyboard and remove that. In this one we're going to have a quick look at a little tiny house, right? So if you guys want to have a look at the 22-meter square apartment in Taiwan, right? I've grabbed a couple floor plans from ArcDaily from that. Right, so we're going to open that up and we're going to go into file, we're going to import, right, and we're going to navigate to our desktop or wherever you've saved it, and I'm going to open that up. Now you'll notice when I import it, right, now you can import DWGs or any other kind of files if you guys have got it open, right. You'll actually, if you have a look in there, you can actually import, and you've got a whole heap of different ones. So AutoCAD files, STL files, which is a 3D printing format, whole heap, right? This is for the pro version, so if you guys have got SketchUp Make or using the online version, you probably don't have all of these versions here or all these supported file types. Anyway, so I've got a JPEG. Right, now you'll notice down here in the bottom left hand corner it's asking me to place it, so I'm just going to place it in the origin, and notice here that I can drag it out and change the scale. Now our first key tip that's going to help you guys out is when you guys have scanned in a floor plan that you've created or grabbed one, right, is we're going to kind of want to change this around and kind of look at top view, right, to make our life a little bit easier. So we're going to right click on our little scratch area here over near our toolbar, and notice how it comes up with a whole heap of different things. Right, this large tool set's pretty good. It opens up a whole heap of other tools on the left hand side there, and if we right click here as well, we've also got views here. Right, notice here that we've now got an isometric view, right, a top view, a front, a right, a left, and a back, right? So this is going to be very, very handy for us moving forward. So now we can kind of hit this top button, right, and we get a top view. Now the next tool tip I kind of want to show you guys is the tape measure tool. So over here in our tape measure tool, all right, we can do some funky stuff, all right? If we know a rough dimension of something that we're looking at, all right, so let's say this door here is 1 meter wide, right? We can come in here and we can click once, and notice how we drag out, just like if we were modeling, and it'll come up a length over here. Now notice how at the moment it is coming up 12,735 mils. So that's almost 13 meters, right? That's clearly wrong. So there's two ways of going through this, right? I'll show you guys one way of doing it, and then I'll show you guys a quick tip. So we can go up here, select our object by single clicking, come up to scale, grab this, and we've got these anchor points here, and we can kind of click and drag it down. Okay, and you'll notice it'll snap to 50%, and you know, I think it'll go up to 2, or you know, every half or something. Right, so that's one way of doing something. Right, so we can kind of scale this down, and then we can grab our tape measure tool and we can kind of measure that again, and it's still wrong. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, right? The best way to do it though, and here's our next tip, is if we go into our top view, right, come down into a door that we know, or whatever we know is a rough dimension, click once, right, come across the other thing, right, and it's saying that if you have a look in the bottom right hand corner that it's now about 10 meters. We know that's incorrect, and it should only be about 1,000 millimeters, 1 meter. So we can now type in 1,000, hit enter, and it asks, do you want to resize the model? And we click yes. All right, now if we hit our zoom extents up in here, right, and we come back into this, all right, we can kind of have a look, and hey, it's about 1,000 mils now, right? So it's pretty accurate this time around, and I would imagine this is about 600 or something. Yep, 590, right? Pretty close to about 600. Okay, so it makes life very, very easy, all right, for working with something that we need to know the dimensions of everything, all right? So from here, we can kind of have a quick look of creating some walls. So let's go into top view, and let's grab our pencil tool, all right, and we're going to come down in here and start modeling. Now we guys kind of went over the basics of modeling, all right, we're going to kind of show you guys in this little tooltip over the next 2 minutes, and then you guys can head off on your own and kind of create whatever you want. So up here, we're going to go up to about 5,400, and again, we can type that in and it'll change the bottom right hand corner. And then we're going to come across, and that looks like about 600 mils. Now I'm only doing this very roughly. Come up about 900, and across by 3,500, and again come back down. That looks like about 6,300, and then we can finish it up there. Now notice how as soon as I close that shape, all right, we now have our face here, and we can click and drag this. However, this is not going to help us when we come to pushing and pulling, because it's going to do the entirety of that, right? We're only trying to do the walls. So next tool tip is using our offset tool, right? So up in here, now if we know the thickness of our walls, we can use this offset tool, come in, click once, and notice how it's now creating an offset of that wall. So I'm going to create an offset of about 200 millimeters and hit enter. All right, notice now we now have our inside shape and we've got our outside shape. All right, this is also very, very important, right? Because if you have a look, we've now got a blue shape coming out, or a gray, bluey gray, all right? And we've also got a white shape. Now, in 3D modeling, you've got a thing called normals. Normals are the things that are kind of at the front or outside of a shape, all right? And the inside of a shape. Typically what you want is all your normals facing the correct way, which means white should be on the exterior and the bluey grey should be on the interior. So if I model this up, all right, we're basically saying that this here, or this shape, is inside out, right? Because the blues are visible, all right? So if you get that, you want to double click or triple click, select all the faces, right click and go reverse face. Notice how the whites are now pointing out? That's saying to the 3D modeling software that everything that we're creating is kind of oriented correctly and that it's not turned inside out. Okay, now you notice that's probably, oh no, it hasn't changed it too much at all. All right, so this here, if we model this up, all right, we've got a nice white shape as well. Now I'm going to Control Z both of those, all right, and bring it back down into here. I'm going to actually delete this middle portion by selecting once to the face and just hit delete, and you notice now I've just got my walls. All right, so I can actually click on this, drag it up, and here I can type in 2400, you know, standard door height or something, or wall height, sorry. All right, from here, all right, I'm obviously missing my different windows. So if I want to create holes within this, what I can do is I can come in and I can create a shape on top of this, and I can drag out. All right, and notice how depending on what I'm trying to sketch on, Sketchup will know exactly what I'm trying to model. Notice here the rectangle here is red and over here it's green. So that's saying that yes, Sketchup knows that we're going to be sketching on the green axis or the red axis. Once that's done, guys, we can kind of come back in here and create an insertion by clicking on that and moving it in. And just like that, we now have a door. So we can do this the same for all of our windows and whatever else. All right, so I'm not 100% sure where our windows are, so I'm going to triple click on that and just move it across. All right, allows me to see all my windows. So what I can do is use my shapes here, click out, and I'm just going to do this really, really roughly. All right, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to show you guys another quick tool tip here. We can use our tape tool here, and we can click on an edge. And notice how it's now coming up with a guide, which makes our life a lot easier. So say our sill height was 500 millimeters, we can type 500 and hit enter. Now we can kind of constrain all of these kind of things, all these bottom sills for our window, to that guide point that we've just created. All right, and now for our very last tip in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys some really cool things about using the arrow keys on your keyboard. So we're going to create our last window here. We're going to come down into our guide, notice how it snaps into it, all right, and we drag up. Now, if we use our arrow keys, all right, so if I press right on the arrow keys on your keyboard, notice how it turns red, right, and it will just keep modeling along the red axis. Now, if I hit left on the keyboard, notice how now it wants to model along the green axis, and if I hit up, all right, it's going to model along the blue axis. So obviously I'm doing a window, so I'm modeling along the red axis at the moment. But if I come up, notice here that I can kind of snap in to that, and notice how a guide comes out, and I can come back out this way, roughly, and click there. And just like that, I can make sure that everything's kind of equal and even and whatnot. And those little kind of keyboard arrows makes your life a lot easier when you guys are starting to model. So in order to finish up this tutorial, let's just kind of grab our push-pull tool. Again, hit P on your keyboard or grab your push-pull up here. Click once, drag it across, and now we can kind of create our different insertions. Now, last thing before we finish up, get into the habit of triple clicking everything, right clicking, and making it a group or a component, because that will kind of circumvent your different stickiness that you may find with SketchUp. Anyway guys, I hope these 3 tutorials have been super helpful for you guys. Leave a comment down below or email me if I can be of further assistance. Have a great week.